hear me now?
It's you guys.
No, good.
Huh? It's them when they're talking.
Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
It's kind of ringing.
Yes, your circuit on the table.
Oh, well.
Is it too high? Is it too loud? It was really loud earlier. So which one is hers? Okay. Try again. Go ahead.
Hello? Okay. Come on.
That's
All
right.
right, well,
There you go.
good evening. Oh,
Hold on, try again.
We're
I
working
turned
on
it down.
testing.
It's better.
Okay. If you don't know who I am, my name is Abby Leone, and I am the Director of Finance for the Town of Oakland. I am here tonight to present to the Town Commission and the town residents the proposed millage and the tentative budgets for fiscal year 2026.
Share this though. Just give me a second to share it. Hang on. Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay, now where are we at? Is it sharing? You are screen sharing, there we go. Now, I can, from beginning. There we go. Right, we're good? Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, so the purpose of tonight's meeting is to present to the public the proposed millage and the tentative budgets. The presentation will include any updates to revenues and expenditures for the general fund, enterprise fund, also known as the water fund, impact fees, and the charter school. Next slide.
What?
Next slide.
Oh, not the background? Okay,
Oh, wait, go back.
go back. Maybe I can use this back.
Yeah, okay. So, a little background, on June 24th, the Town Commission held a work session on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2026. Also on June 24th, the Commission approved the tentative budget for the charter school. As was mentioned during the work session, the budget was created using a 6.7 millage, and that is still the case. So, we'll start off with the general fund. So the total for general fund is $11,020,949. This includes $10.5 million in revenue and operating expenditures and $500,000 of town revenue, reserves. As presented in the previous work session, property values increased by 9.39 this year. We used the 6.7 millage to balance the budget. And then without the use of the 500,000, we would have had a deficit of over 300,000. So using that 500,000, that leaves us a remaining reserve or remaining funds for any unexpected expenditures of 135,000. So increases to the general fund. We were able to update the revenue estimates from the state and other funding sources. We also updated any year-to-date expenditures and updated the projections for the fiscal year 26 accordingly. Now, this is all as of August, at the end of August. So we did have a check run, and then some more revenue has come through. So for the final budget, I will update that again. So those numbers might change for you. At the time of the budget workshop, we did not have our proposed fire rescue number, so this line item increased approximately by 480,000 since then. I do want to mention, though, this was my bad. Vice Mayor, you had asked me if we had paid fire rescue. I thought we did. I was under the impression that we did. But when we received the new letter in July, I saw the way that it was broken down, and I went to look at the previous letter. We did not pay it in full. So we're still short 200,000. Now, they haven't come to us for that 200,000, so I don't know if they're going to invoice it separately or if they're going to add it on the invoice, but the letter that they sent did not include that 200,000. So, I think what happened was when the unapproved payment plan, I was asked to pay it, that was a reduced payment for the first one. It should have been like $1,043,000, we paid 800,000. The second letter came through to pay the $1,043,000, I paid that because it matched what it should have been. So we are short. That includes that 500,000 in the reserves. This is the 200 from last year. I carried it over so that we could pay fire rescue. So that is on me, I do apologize. I thought it was paid, but it wasn't. So I'll make sure that it gets paid, I promise. It'll be the first thing I do October 1. I'll pay it. So the budget also includes a 3% COLA to all town employees. It also includes an 18% retirement contribution for all sworn officers. This is a 2% increase from last year's budget. And it also includes any longevity pay to any eligible employees. The budget also covers 100% of the employee health insurance costs, and the town added more plans to offset some of the rising premiums, which came back at a 9% increase from last year. We weren't sure what the final number was going to be during the budget workshop, but it did come back at a 9% increase, so that is reflected in the budget currently. I do want to mention, I didn't put it on the slide, but I've been asked a couple of times, there was an increase to the PD other compensation. That is for the officers' off-duty pay. So they are able to work events such as soccer games, concerts, lakeside church, that type of stuff. Those entities will pay the town for the officer's time, and then we will then pay the officer through their payroll. We normally have never accounted for that, but this year we broke over 100,000 in revenue, and so because it comes out of the compensation line item, it's going to show that PD is overspent in compensation, and that's just not right. So to have better, line item recording and stuff like that, I put in 100,000 for the potential of money coming in for that, and then the expenditure is in the PD compensation, the other, so it balances, if that makes any sense. Same thing with overtime. You might see that there's overtime on certain line items. We've never really accounted for that. We've never been really fully staffed in certain departments, but we should always have it just in case. So last year we were fully staffed in all of our departments, so we want to make sure that we're accounting it properly. We don't want it to be like a finding in our audit that we overspent in certain departments. So I did have a lot of questions on that, so I just wanted to put it out there. I didn't think it would call so much attention, but it really did. Everybody was like, what's 100,000? So it's in there. So decreases to the general fund, we've decreased the computer services by 65,000, and then we decreased the overall compensation for the town clerk budget. That was in part to the assistant town manager position being reduced or taken away essentially, and then the computer services was a project that we had already completed. We were able to downsize that line item. So those were the only changes. They weren't really changes, but that's all that's really made changes since the workshop to the general fund. That big changes. Moving on to the enterprise fund or the water fund. The total budget for this is $7.5 million. This includes $4.3 million in grants and loans, and then 3.2 in actual revenue and operating. Since the budget workshop, there were increases to the water revenue and wastewater revenue. This was also due to updating year-to-date, then as of August. Those numbers, the water fund also includes a 3% cost of living adjustment to all utility staff. Possible remaining funds in the amount of $145,000. This is a huge difference from last year. Last year we only had $39,000 left in the utility fund, and now we have $145,000, so that was nice. impact fee. So the total budget for impact fee is a little over $5 million. This includes $3.2 million in projects and 1.8 left in reserves. This next slide shows an overview of the projects for the impact fee budget. It's a little small, but they're in there. I know, I'm so sorry guys, it's really small.
Are there copies of this?
Yes, yes, there's copies.
Oh, there's copies on the table if
On the
anybody
table.
wants to see it. Increases since the budget workshop, we, Kathy, can you switch to the next one?
Oh, the next slide's
Thank you. We increased the, additional water plan and pump design from 200,000 to 500,000. We also, added 100,000 to the impact, so impact fee budget had the most changes. We added 100,000 to Oakland Avenue and Daniel roadway improvements. We did an increase from 50,000 to 150,000 for Catherine Ross Road additional improvements. We did an increase from 300 to 350,000 for intersection improvements to Winter's Landing and Mackey. And then we added 75,000 to the budget for East Oakland Avenue sidewalk improvements. And then the final is gonna be the Oakland Charter School budget. So this is their tentative kind of final budget. Their budget is a little over 6.3 million. This includes any updates to the FEFP revenue calculator that was released in July. They also reviewed any current enrollment and adjusted those revenues as needed. They also reviewed all of their end-of-year expenses based on categories and then adjusted the budget amounts as needed. They also had some summer staff resignations, and that requires some staff reallocation, so they rearranged some stuff in the budget for that. And they project a reserve of a little over $25,000. This is where I forgot to put the slide for public comment and questions. So, any public comment or questions? No?
Anyone, so will, anybody in the public or have any comments or questions about the budget? No? Okay.
Does the commission have any questions?
Yeah, so we'll go around the table. We'll start with Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, so, I spent about an hour and a half with Gabby and Elise this morning going over the budget and, highlighted items of significant increase that I noticed, which I would say like $10,000 or more, and asked questions about those. And, I expressed my concern over the fact that we're having to pull $500,000 from our reserves to make the budget work. That's not a place I think we want to see ourselves in on a regular basis. I know that the Orange County fire increase last year really changed the scope of our budget. We saw that last year, and it's obviously affecting us again this year. We talked about the fact that, unfortunately, if we increase our stuff to cover that, they're gonna ask for more for us, so it's kind of a vicious cycle of trying to get ahead of that. So, I do want to say to the town staff that I really appreciate all the work that Gabby, you, and the other department heads have done in putting the budget together. I know it's a daunting task, I'm sure, every year to do this. But I'd like to ask everyone to be considerate of the budget. I mean, obviously, pulling from reserves is not a position we want to be in. And I think that we all, I know we all met with Elise and Gabby as the commissioners individually and for budgets for things. I think we all have to be very mindful of what we're spending, and for the department heads. I can't speak for everyone on the commission. I know for myself, going forward, any items that are brought in front of us to approve going forward, that I want to see in those presentations where that money's coming from, and making sure that it's a budgeted item, and only in the rare case of some kind of emergency that we're going outside of that, we've got to get this reined in, because, in my view, reserves are for emergencies. They're not for funding your budget every year. And I feel like we've got we gotta get ahead of this. We know that there's a lot of growth happening in our town, but more tax revenue from new houses is also gonna mean more expenses of those things too. So until we get the commercial that we talk about and things like that, that can really start to kind of bump up our tax base, I just really want to ask everybody, including us, on anything that we're considering spending on the town's behalf, that we're just very mindful of it and watching what we're doing and carving out where we can some savings, so.
Great, thanks. Commissioner McMullen?
I'll be real brief. I've been saying this for a long time. We know the cost of everything is going up. You know, if you look at trash, whatever it is, everything is going up. We have to figure out a way, and I said this to Elise and to Gabby, on how we're going to increase our top line. We're going to have to figure out a way to bring in other dollars. I've been saying this for a long time. We need a grant writer to come in to help us get some of these federal and these state dollars to offset some of this cost. Just like Commissioner Kelly was talking about, you know, we want to continue going, dip into these areas, reserve and other places if we don't figure out a way. Now, commercials coming, yes, that's coming, but you know, just like we mentioned, more housing come, more costs come, more everything comes, more staff has to come. So I'll just be real brief. We need to figure out how we're going to bring in more dollars. And I've given this advice, I know, for most of the years. And I know we have some challenges, we have a lot of growth. Mike Parker has been the grant writer, he has been the everything, he can't do it. We have dollars in there, we really need to have someone dedicated to get these free dollars that can help us to at least help us to get to a point, because the dollars are there, the project is still coming, the growth is still coming. And then also when the other pieces with our special events, we need to figure out a way to bring in dollars to help cover our special events. I've talked about this before. You know, we're always chasing after people to help support. I had a meeting with Lynn and others, and I know that was the first time. Whereas, you know, I remember when Mayor came on board, he was looking at the event cost per person, how much it costs to put on this event. And that was something to look at. How do you offset that? We need to bring in, we got all these partners, bring in people to help us, you know, pay for these special events. Because, you know, we want to have a place that is fun and have for family. So we don't want to be a stagnant place, but all at the same time, we want to make sure we can do it in a fiscal way. So those two areas, not really two areas, my main point, we got to bring some more money to help, because we know the town is one that's a business. Residents have increased, staff has decreased. You know, we move some things around, but we need, you know, was it like $9 million budget, $10 million budget, you know, saving $50,000 here or $100,000 here. It's not going to make a real huge dent in this $10 million unless we bring in monies outside to help us offset some of these costs, so we can build our reserves and not have some of these scary moments that we have, because we're a small town. We don't have diverse revenue coming in. I know you're doing a great job, but I really want to say this publicly. We need a grant writer to come in to help us to access these free dollars. And that's my points.
Thank you. Commissioner Reynolds?
Very well said, Commissioner Keller and Commissioner Joseph. I agree with both of you. And thank you very much, Gabby, Kathy, Elise, everything, the whole staff on this work. This is great. I think you guys did a great job. But I guess I don't want to reiterate everything that's been said, but I think the biggest thing and the huge, you know, diversity that we need to have is the commercial. If we keep on just doing the residential, you know, each residential dollar for dollar is not going to make an impact if we keep on filling up with residential. We're always going to be pinching pennies, trying to squeeze here, squeeze there for the residential. With the commercial, finally gets developed here, we'll have the surplus that we all need to get our head above water. That's what I think, and we have to push that through grants or whichever which way you're in, through our comp plan or redesign, you know, investors, especially on Highway 50. But there's a lot of money sitting there on Highway 50 that we can be capitalizing every year for our town, that it won't impact our way of life over here in the historic or the areas of our neighborhoods. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, not to be redundant, everyone has made pretty much the same points, and it's not so much the individual line items for this year, because they're all, very explainable. I too have been to all the different departments to ask questions on the whys and the hows of individually, what are we doing and how are we doing that with, so I've got a very good understanding of where we are, and I don't see any way that it could have been done any better than this document has. You guys have done a tremendous job, but we're right, we've got to find a way to, at least for the next probably 5 years, bring in a significant amount of money before we get completely built out and we lose the commercial end of it, before we get built out and any of the impact stuff stops coming in the way it has. So it's more of a, the problem is more of a forward-thinking thing than it is this individual budget itself. As far as this budget, it's as good as it can get, and it's a good solid budget. And you guys did a great job with it, so thank you all very much.
Thanks. Okay, so, just my takeaways from it, it is overall, it's a balanced budget. It is. Unfortunately, it relies real heavy on the reserves, and to your point, it does. We're in a situation, the fire fees kicked in, as we said, we're not trying to make that the excuse, but it is a reality, is what happened with the fire fees, and it took us a while to recover. It's gonna take a while to recover. The good thing is, tomorrow, myself and the town manager, we have a meeting with the fire department that has asked to meet with us, tomorrow. So let's see where that goes, and we haven't stopped fighting, to reduce, because we do feel that, the fees the Orange County Fire Department has put upon us is probably not a fair way to evaluate. How they evaluate it is based on the valuation of the town and the property within the town. So, for example, in this year, it went up 9%. So wherever they're charging, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna go up 9%. I would guarantee you next year, property values will go up another. So we have to try to see what we can do to get ahead of that. So, we're strategizing, trying to figure out the best way to do that, and anxious to hear what they have to say tomorrow. We'll let you guys, know what that is. The, general fund, what I like about that in the 3%, COLA, what is it creates that high retention to employees that are here, so you're not having that turnover to town employees. And if you don't know, whenever you have turnover in any business, it costs you more to retrain somebody than it does to keep that employee. So you want to try to create a place that your employees will want to be. And part of that is a compensation package that you can offer your employees. Same with our police department. Giving them that 2% increase in the retirement contribution. It allows for retention and probably recruitment as well that comes in to the police department. So it makes us competitive with other municipalities is what it does. The enterprise fund is probably one of our most successful funds. Why? Because it's making money. We're making a lot of money on water and sewer charges that go inside that. So it's a good thing. So we want to keep that enterprise fund going, making money. And as Gabby said, you saw the increase from last year to this year on that. The school, I know last year their reserves were a lot higher than this year. It's 25,000 is what they have in there for reserves, not a lot. God forbid if an electrical panel blows or something like that, that can eat that whole reserve up. They don't have it budgeted and stuff. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. But I have been told that the school is very, very tight on their budget, and they believe they have everything in there covered as well. I think with this particular budget, the total fiscal year budget right now as it stands, if you review the numbers, we're counting everything, we're at $29,990,000 for this, to run the town and what we bring in. So, yeah. Anyone else in the audience have any questions after hearing us talk or anything? Yes, sir. Come on up and state your name for the record. Sorry. Name and address.
Please speak in the mic for the audience on Zoom.
May
name's Brandon, I live at 1037 Eagle Crest Drive, so we're in the new development at Oakland Park. My concerns when I was looking at the budget is nothing seems to really be forward-looking. Nothing is forward-looking to all the new houses that are going into the new developments. All those houses are probably starting price $1 million up to $5 million. I'm a new family here, I'm a young family. I've been fortunate enough in my career to have afforded enough savings to be able to purchase a nice home in Oakland Park. That being said, I'm a young family with 2 kids, and my taxes are $14,000 per year, $3,000 more than an equal priced home in Winter Garden. Winter Garden has paved roads, they have commercial, they have libraries, they have police, fire, water, a lot more than we have. I have dirt roads, a poorly maintained park, no marina, no library, hardly anything. What are we paying for? Why are we unable to get a budget that works? How are we unable to look forward at the growth in this community? Why can't we get the investment that we want? With $5 million houses going in, why don't we have a Whole Foods? Why can't we get the development and commercial that we need to pick up the excess budget that we want to afford for ourselves? I also have another question. $6 to $7 million coming into the school. It's an A-rated school. It's populated by wonderful families who are buying your $5 million houses and sending really great kids there to get that A rating. How many kids are coming from out of Oakland that are accommodating that school? And why do I need to compete for my 2 kids to go into the school that I'm paying for?
All right, thanks.
Would you like me to stand here?
Oh, yeah, what was that?
Would you like me to stand here?
Oh, you don't, if you want to, you can and stuff.
Sure.
So let me just go back. So you're new to the town, right?
About 2 years.
2 years, right. So the town has always been a residential type bedroom community. Yeah, you're right. There hasn't been any forward thinking as far as going commercial, and that's something that we're really working hard on. We have a great gold mine out there on 50, and it's coming. Developers are coming. They have been into the planning department. It's a process to go through. So we're behind on that, okay? And when I say behind, not only are we lacking on commercial, but we're lacking on infrastructure as well. Let's just say the town was never built to handle what's come in. It's come in this fast. Look, you're right, it's $1 million to $5 million houses that are coming in there, and that money is going in. Well, that also raises the real estate values of everything, and then we get hit with 28% of our budget going to fire fees and public safety and stuff, all right? So, the town was never set to have a library, it was never set to have a marina or anything like that. I can't tell you that you moved here, and I'm hoping you're enjoying the park, and the park makes a lot of people happy, and the park gets used a lot. It's not gonna be a manicured park like what you see in Oakland Park or anything like that. It's just, it's not in the cards for us. We can't do it. We have
What was your budget? $30 million?
$10 million in the general fund. 10 million. We're running everything on $10 million for 3,500 people, and a town that's two square miles. So the hope and the goal is to get commercial to come in. And when that commercial comes in, that commercial's a big game changer.
Okay, it goes to my point though, the forward-looking point. So you're gonna raise my millage rate.
We're not raising millage. Millage rate stays the same.
My assessment showed that it was gonna be higher next year.
Is that Orange County are you looking at, or are you looking at the towns? Because we are not raising the millage.
No, he's looking at the trim notice that came in
Yeah.
that has the different options.
Right.
It's always like that.
Oh,
It shows different options.
Yeah, it's not, that's if you raise it, this is what happens. So that notice you have is a what could happen type notice. So these meetings are set to tell the county, when the county sends out those notices, you get a final notice that says this is gonna be your your millage. So we're not raising, the millage. Now, what's raising is the value of your house when you bought it last year. That's what's raising. And when you look at what you paid last year for your house, what your house is valued at last year, and what it's valued at this year, I guarantee you it's gone up.
Okay.
By the way, for the record, we have been forward thinking. Since Dennis, our town manager, came here, he started setting up forward thinking 11, 15 years ago. This town did not have the infrastructure that Winter Garden set up 25 years ago, 30 years ago. So there was no sewer in our town for big commercial, box office or hotels or whatnot to come in here without putting a lot of money out of their money to build, because there's no infrastructure as far as sewer, a lot of the utilities. So it was set up, that's why there's no asphalt, there's no storm drainage, it was just dirt roads. So it's a small town feel that I think is more than 3,500 people. We're close to 5,000.
No, I'm sorry, it is more. It's almost 6,000 people.
So if you
I'm
see
getting
that, what
connections.
we bring in to manage 6,000 people versus Winter Garden with, I think they're at,
48,000.
yeah, I mean, they have like $300, $400 million over there that they manage. I mean, we are really, this town and the staff and how we are super lean, very, very lean. I'm surprised that we're still in business here in this town to run everything that we do to satisfy all our citizens with the little we have. Now, we did plant those seeds a long time ago for the sewer and the infrastructure, so we can finally get companies to come out here and invest on Highway 50. And nobody in the board here, the new ones or the old ones who've been here for years, talking about Mike Satterfield, who's been here close to 30 years, has ever been against bringing in more investments. The investors were just skipping over the town locally, going to Claremont or to Winter Garden because we weren't ready for them. We are ready for them now. And things will be changing, like the mayor said, and the vice mayor, in the next 5 years, will be a big change. But the benefit of people who have come here to Oakland is that their homes have gone up. We're one of the ones around West Orange that are residential or homes, and everyone here gets to enjoy, has gone up. At least the last 10 years has, percentage-wise compared to Winter Greener, McCoy, Winter Garden, Horizon West, we're way ahead, country mile ahead of them on how much our town and our homes have value. So as the value goes up in your home, you're gonna be paying more taxes. And we're hoping to start bringing that millage down in the future as soon as we get more commercial and more investment.
Just keep in mind that the general consensus is that people who have just moved into this locality in the past few years are fully subsidizing the town, and it feels that way. And we're coming here because of Winter Garden, not because of Oakland. We just happen to be in an Oakland address, so we're paying a lot of extra tax to support the town. I would like to see some dividends paid. Balance your budget. Please don't keep raising our taxes. We're going to crush under the weight of it. Okay?
Oakland is expensive.
Well,
I
and
understand.
respectfully, I built my house here, fortunately, 6 years now, almost, so, I got in before things really started going up, and I also moved from Orange County, so I have some tax advantages from being in the state previously, but, you have a choice, and, as a home buyer, you have to do your due diligence. I mean, I considered 3 different locations when I was building my house, and I knew that building my house in Oakland was gonna cost me, $100,000 more than it was gonna cost me if I built it in Claremont, and I also knew that my taxes were gonna be higher here, but I wanted Oakland and I wanted this location, and there is a cost for that, and, part of that is we are just not as big. You can't compare Winter Garden or other municipalities because we're very unique here because of the size of our town. So our taxes are gonna be higher than the surrounding areas just based on our size, our actual size, 2 square miles, and then, the number of residents that we have here. So, I think that that's something that, you have to remember as well, is that, I understand you are in Oakland Park and you just happen to be on the side that's Oakland, but when doing your due diligence, you would have found that the taxes were gonna be higher here than they are in Winter Garden, because there's a much broader base to put the costs across than there
Brandon, I feel you. I've been paying over $15,000 for the last 16 years in my home here in Oakland, but I love Oakland. Now we'll change it for one bit.
Let me add on, Brandon, you had another question about school and your children competing to get into school. As an Oakland resident, we have 525 kids that go to that school. It was built for 700, but class size reduction has cost us. And that's why we struggle a little bit monetarily. But on the top of the chain for the lottery are Oakland residents. So if you're an Oakland resident, you shouldn't be competing with people that are out of the town limits. So, and if that's the case, after, catch up to me, we'll talk about that. But your children, if they are Oakland residents, would get at the top of the list for the pool for the lottery.
Good. Is that what happened to you? Your kids didn't get it?
I know that a lot of families.
Brandon needs you to come up, sorry.
Sorry. It's being recorded, people.
I know that a lot of families opted to go with the PEK program that Oakland Charter offered. It's a full-time program that you pay out of pocket for, and the vast majority of those families did not want a full-time program, but they opted to do it anyway, so they had an option to go to Oakland Charter for kindergarten. There were 2 open slots available for Oakland residents for kindergarten this year. I'm being told there's going to be more next year, and I'm hoping there is, because I opted not to send my kids to a full-time program and pay out of pocket for it. So my worry is that next year when I try to send my son to kindergarten, I'm going to be competing against families who live down Horizon West that already have a kid established in the school, and they're the number one priority, not Oakland residents. So that's a correction for you. And I think there's a lot of families that are living out of town that opted to go to Oakland Charter because it's a higher rated school. Why wouldn't you? But now that our town is swelling, and the vast majority of families that are coming in have kids my age, it's a concern for us. If you're gonna have a bunch of students coming in from out of town, you might want to cut down on those numbers. And again, forward thinking, all these houses that are going in have 4, 5, 6 bedrooms in them, all full of kids, all right? So you consider that. That's my 2 cents.
It's funny, because when my kids went to Oakland Charter School, I think my oldest daughter went there a year after it was open. It seemed Oakland was just jam-packed full of kids, right? And then all those kids went, and then they left, and then there were really no kids in Oakland, because it wasn't that large of a place. And then
It's changed now.
it's changed, and it's a good thing, right? Because we'd love to get back to just, hey, it's all Oakland kids coming in. Because for the longest time there, it was all pretty much 90% Oakland kids that were going there. But yeah, I mean, we're excited about the growth. We're excited to have you in the town. Nobody's disputing that at all. I think there's some history that goes along with when you come in. I'd be happy to talk to you about it offline, no problem. No, I mean, this is very helpful in your comments and what you're saying, because I do. I mean, Sal pays a lot for his house. I pay a lot for mine as well, and it's houses, your houses and other houses and Briley Farms that's coming up. Every one of us in here, our house values go up because everybody wants to now be in Oakland. It's the last little piece, is what it is. So,
Okay.
thanks.
I just pay a lot of tax. I'd like to be able to send my kid to the one school that's in town. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything else? Yes, hey, John.
John Hammerstein, 306 East Vic Avenue. Just some questions, maybe not appropriate for this meeting, maybe they are. I don't understand how the Orange County Fire Department is structured here. In other words, do they own that building? Does Oakland own that building? How many calls are they doing out of Oakland versus in Oakland? Where is the real equity there for these higher rates, and is Orange County funding some of that also? Or how does that break down? Is there any demographic on that?
Yeah, good question. That's the issue. So the building is a JPA, joint partnership agreement between the town of Oakland and Orange County. So they kind of own half, and we own half. When it was done back in 2006, was it 16? No, 9?
When it was constructed,
Yeah.
2002 or 3.
Yeah, okay, that's right, okay.
Is it still financed or bonded, or is it paid for, or?
There is a bond that the town has on it as well, that we still cover, we're still paying for. I think that goes to, what was that, we talked about it today? 32? 2032. And that's of that, and then out here too, when we did the town square back in the day. So the way the model is set up, and we're not the only ones in this, we're in it, Eatonville's in it, Edgewood's in it, and Belle Isle's in it, because they all contract for fire services through Orange County as well. The municipalities, if you look at some of these municipalities like Belle Isle and Edgewood, they didn't raise their millage last year like we did to try to get ahead of it. Well, now, this year, you look, they're having to raise it up. And it seemed to be a catalyst for all municipal fire departments. So Oakwood just raised theirs. Because what happens is, it's like Orange County is kind of the
No, I
top,
understand
you know,
that.
when it goes. So then everybody starts jumping on board and stuff. So how they do it is based on a millage that's in your trim, and they base it on the valuation of your house. Now, how many calls that they made to Oakland proper residents versus Turnpike or Highway 50? My guess, there's probably more on Turnpike and Highway 50 than they do here in Oakland. So those are the information we're hoping to gather tomorrow. Hopefully they'll be able to say, all right, you're right, it's not equitable. It's not
Yeah,
fair.
it feels like we're subsidizing Orange County to run a service in this
Right.
area.
So how this whole process started is like, when we first started the whole conversation about it last year, we weren't happy about it. And I just kept pushing it and pushing it. And anytime I ever got in front of an Orange County commissioner or an Orange County official or had somewhere with Jerry Demings or whatever, I always bring it up. And then at a chamber meeting 3 weeks ago, Commissioner Scott, which is the vice mayor of Orange County, I was talking about it again. And about, we just got the letter in the mail, it went up again, and he kind of had this look on his face like, really? So then he kind of got involved, and then Nicole Wilson got involved. So with those folks, we're meeting with her tomorrow, and Chief Rios, who's head of the fire department, along with Byron Brooks, who's the head administrator, tomorrow. So we'll see where it goes tomorrow. We'll see. But we're not, I don't want to think it. I don't think that 23% of our budget should go to the Orange County Fire Department. You know? I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I've said this before, when you need them, you need them. You know, and you'll pay anything to get them, but you gotta make it fair.
And then with the charter school, again, I'm just speaking out of ignorance. How, I know people pay to go there, correct? It's cost associated.
No.
So there's a voucher system?
We get funded through the state per student. That's how most of the money comes in. And we have the lottery every year with the pecking order for that 525 kids. The only thing required is there's not community service, but volunteer service. They have to do volunteer service, parents do, as they go through to help out the school in lieu of payment.
So does the state provide most of the costs, cover most of the costs?
Yeah, just like a public school like down the street.
They don't cover.
Tildenville, thank you.
Yeah, they don't cover the same. They cover less than they do at a public school. So we still have to, struggle to make do. However, we have a PTO that actually gives us anywhere between $50,000 and $80,000 every year for their fundraisers, and that really subsidizes it and keeps us strong.
Okay. One last little comment, maybe, I don't know if that's ever happened up here, but maybe look at a state of the town event to,
It's coming up,
is it?
October 22nd. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna send you an invitation.
yeah, just,
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of a big enough budget now, and business-like, and, you know,
Yeah.
and, I mean, thankful for these people to come out,
Absolutely, everybody came up.
but
Yeah,
that's not many compared to what's going on,
that's right.
so,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's coming up on October 22nd, so we hope everybody
Well,
comes.
hopefully there's a lot of good food there, and
Heritage Center,
I
right?
have a budget for it.
Heritage Center.
There'll be plenty of ice cream, John.
make it a potluck.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You know, if you want to put that all in perspective from back in the days when we were young men, John, starting off doing this in the 90s, our budget was like $2.5 million compared to what we are right now. So in 30 years, that's where we have gone to. So on the same 2 by 2 mile square, so it is phenomenal where we have gone.
Anyone else? We got a few more minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Evening, Sarah Meyer, I live at 402 East Lake Avenue. I just wanted to say that I actually like the sleepy town. When my husband and I moved here 17 years ago and started our family, we live on a dirt road, and we actually wanted to live on a dirt road, and we like our more natural feel of the parks here. Not necessarily want to live in a manicured Park Avenue type of atmosphere, but I'm not anti-growth, and I am looking forward to some of the things that are coming. But speaking of dirt roads, I wanted to get very specific and ask if in our budget there was anything for paving East Big Avenue due to all of the growth that has come.
We're gonna talk about it at the 7 o'clock meeting, if you can hang around,
I hear
to
it's
talk
a little bit-
about-
Yeah,
the dirt roads and improving those and in the schedule. Because if you remember, we did a study,
yeah.
we had something done back in March or May of this year. So we're going to do that, but to answer your question, there is stuff in the budget for.
Okay, and is it coming out of the impact fee fund?
Well, so yes, and some of it is maintenance as well.
Okay, so can someone explain to me how the impact fee fund works? Is it you get improvements as the funds come in from impact fees, or can you start work right away?
Right, so that 7 o'clock is going to clarify all of that, on what can be used for impact fees on road improvements and what cannot be used. But
Okay,
I think you'll be pleased with what we think we've come up with.
okay, great, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else?
I have a question for Gabby, just to fulfill a procedural requirement here. Gabby, could you please announce the percent by which the proposed millage rate exceeds the rollback rate from last year?
It exceeds by 9%.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't know I had mentioned that in this one. I thought it was the next one.
You were ready to do it.
I was so ready.
Anybody else? Everybody here at the table? Everybody's good? So with that, we'll close.
Nope,
Oh,
nope,
sorry.
some more
Uh-oh.
This is where you're gonna do your.
Oh, yes.
This is where we have to approve everything.
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
Thought we did that at 7 o'clock meeting.
This is not a work session, it's a budget.
This is an actual budget,
Okay,
so we have 10 minutes to approve everything.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, I need a slide.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry.
Okay, so requested action is to approve the millage rate of 6.7, which is the existing rate from last year and this year. To request approval for the tentative budgets, so that would be the general fund, the enterprise fund, impact fees, and the charter school. And then request approval for the final public hearing, which will be September 23rd at 6 p.m. Now, that meeting is on a Tuesday, not on a Monday, so.
Okay. Do it one at a time, Stephanie, or can we do them all together?
Yes, please. One at a time.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to approve the tentative millage rate for fiscal year 25-26 at 6.7.
I'll make a motion to approve
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next is approved a tentative budget for the fiscal year 25-26.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative budget.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then finally, the approved final budget public hearing date of September 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. That's a Tuesday right here.
I will make a motion to request approval of the final public hearing date of September 23rd, Tuesday, at 6 o'clock.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You good?
I think so, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Thank you, guys. We'll be in 10 minutes.
No.
9.